We are suddenly in a debate about gotcha journalism. I guess we're always in some kind of debate about gotcha journalism, but as far as the presidential campaign goes, it's barely underway, and this has become a hot topic. Why? Because of a series of questions to Scott Walker, the governor of Wisconsin. I predicted a couple of weeks ago that after he blipped up in the polls, he'd be getting a whole lot of media scrutiny. So a whole series of things happened where Scott Walker decided that he didn't want to answer certain press questions. That is his right as a governor, as a candidate, as an American citizen, but it doesn't always make the most political sense. What's happened is by repeatedly refusing to answer these questions, what Walker has done is he's kept the story alive. Something that might have been a kind of a one-day flap has now gone on for about a week. It began in London when somebody at a forum asked the governor whether he believed in evolution, and he said he didn't think a politician should answer that. Okay. Then Rudy Giuliani famously said he didn't think that President Obama loves America. He did it at a dinner, a private dinner for Walker. And then, naturally, Walker was asked, what do you think of Rudy's comments? And he didn't want to get into what he sees as the game of candidates being asked what to comment on what somebody else says, even if that somebody else is a supporter. And then finally, that ended up with a couple of Washington Post reporters asking the governor whether he thinks that Barack Obama is a Christian. And the easy answer would have been yes, or I have no reason to doubt it, and then move on to something else. But again, Walker said didn't feel like he needed to answer that. He's never discussed it with the president. And then an interesting little twist when his press secretary called the newspaper after that exchange and said, yes, of course, Governor Walker believes that President Obama is a Christian. So the tweet that Walker put up about journalists playing the gotcha game, my response is, first of all, is this. Yes, and it is part of a presidential campaign, whether the questions are fair or unfair or irrelevant or off the wall or snarky or designed to embarrass you. You have to be able to hit the major league pitching. You have to figure out a way to finesse it. And I think here, Walker's lack of experience on the national stage showing just a little bit. I think in 6 months, as he's had more practice at this, he will find a way to deflect or answer or duck in ways that don't call so much attention to the fact that he is doing that. Now, is it unfair for these questions to be asked? Sometimes it is, although, the idea of the asking whether you believe the president's a Christian when there was so much debate over the whole birther craziness and over whether the people who still believe that Barack Obama is a secret Muslim, it's not exactly like it's a question that's never been asked before. It's a very easy question to answer. I have no reason to doubt it. I give you 50 different formulations. But I do think there's a fair point, and ABC's George Stephanopoulos acknowledged this on the air the other day, that Republicans tend to be asked these kinds of questions. What do you think about what so-and-so said? Much more often than do Democrats. That's a problem. But if you're a Republican running for president, you can't exactly count on the press corps being fair. And sometimes the press corps is also unfair to Democrats. It seems to happen more often with Republicans. So I understand Scott Walker would like to control his message, would like to answer only the questions that he wants to ask. But in the messy marathon that is a race for the White House, it simply doesn't work that way because we in the media will keep pounding on it until it becomes a story, and you've got to figure out a way to deal with it.